Hey y'all. So, like I said, it's going down tonight. So, if you're not ready, I need you to get ready because Candid Conversations with Shy starts now. Hey, so to know me is to know I like music and I like to get a 1-2 step in. So, welcome to Candid Conversations with Shy. And if you have not figured it out, I'm your girl Shy. So, welcome. Please let me know where you are watching or listening from. I would truly appreciate that. At any time you have a comment or a question, definitely go ahead and drop that so we can further discuss all of the things. So, now we're going into the first segment. What is the first segment? Well, if you watched last week's, you know I'm going to talk about a current event. And the current event that I want to talk about has to do with a story. Now, y'all probably like which one? Because unfortunately, there has been a lot. But this story is of the woman that was found unalive in her apartment, and then they discovered her son's body in the mouth of an alligator. And so I'm listening. I seen it first, and then I was like, okay, maybe I'll come back to this, maybe not. But I kept seeing it pop up. So I began to just go into the comments because it was very fresh. So it wasn't said, you know, the state and all of that. But those details was enough for me. So the reason why this is current events, because this is what's going on in our world. Are there some good things going on? Yes. This is what I want to talk about. So I'm looking into the comments, and one of the commenters said, this is why, actually, I'm gonna read it word for word. They said, stop staying in abusive relationships. He told her he was going to do it, and he did it. And maybe about 10 plus years ago, I probably would have commented that. But when you get educated on the thing, anyone that has ever been in an abusive relationship, it is not that easy just to leave. And when you're on the outside looking in, it is. So if that has been your experience, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, so the story I wanted to talk about very briefly, because it is an unfortunate situation, and more so, we have to put ourselves in a position to where we realize what's for us and not for us before it gets to that point. Because once it gets to that point, you have to do several things, and most people do not exit abusive relationships successfully, meaning with their lives. So that is the current event. If you heard about that story, please let me know, share your thoughts. But may their souls rest. And also, um, allow it to be a learning lesson for other people, not to judge, as well as for someone that may feel like they're just stuck in their situation. This may give them hope to try to find a way to get out safely, as safe as possible. So now what I want to um, introduce is, what have you done new? Within 1 week, what is something that you've tried new, you've done new, just new for you? And what I tried, okay, it's yet to be seen how it's going to be continued, and or if it will be continued. But one of the things that I have tried is not parenting the way that I was parented. What I mean by that more specifically is um my little girl person that is in the house struggles with keeping things clean. So we're constantly clean up, pick this up, close that, put that away, over and over and over again. And we've tried several things and nothing seems to work. So I said, let it just stay. Now, if you know me, you know I like things in its proper place, but I said, just let it stay. And when she asks for something or to do something, to go somewhere for something special, it's, I would love to do that for you. However, I have to uphold my end of what we discussed, and I'm not able to do that. But the moment that you do what's necessary for you to get what you're asking for, I will be glad to have that conversation with you. And I will say this, day one, it worked. No pushback, no nothing. It was, I understand. And they figured out another solution, asked me, and I said, okay. So that is what I'm trying so far. And so far, so good, but we shall see. Um, so now get into our topic. So again, this is Candid Conversations with Shy. I talk a lot with my hands, if you do not know, but we are talking about relationships, okay? Healthy and unhealthy relationships when it comes to um, uh, family, and breaking family down from siblings to parents, to extended family, to significant others, friendships. And when I'm talking about friendships, I'm not talking about these little new friendships. You just met somebody. I'm not talking about those friendships. I'm talking about like long-term friendships where kind of like at this point in your family. So in reference to relationships, um, I would say personally, a lot of people that I know, as well as myself, you just pick up on how to be in a relationship. No, for the most part, we were not set down to say, this is how you interact with someone, this is how you set a boundary, this is how you communicate effectively, this is what you allow or don't allow, or this is where you know compromise, this is how you um come back from a setback, all of these things, right? And so as you grow in life, you try things, and if they work, majority of the time they stick. If they don't work, we kind of find ourselves in this circle, this battle, like what's going on, why didn't that work, all of the things. So first one that I want to talk about, and again, at any time you can chime in, and even if you listen to this conversation after the fact, you still can chime in. So, what I want to talk about is those close relationships. Get in mind whatever that close relationship is, and I'm going to talk about the unhealthy side of relationships. I see and hear this a lot, and it really makes me cringe. And then I get excited when I see people speak what I feel and think. When people say, well, you only got that, you only get one mom, you only get one dad, that's your brother, that's your sister, that's family. And I'd be like, so what? Who, point out to me where it says just because someone is blood, they are exempt from treating you with respect, from treating you with love, from treating you how you deserve to be treated. And so when we're talking about relationships, again, like I said, there's different facets of them. But the healthy side of relationships, I've noticed that when you create or set boundaries to now create healthy relationships, it is looked at as if you are either the problematic one, the one that you just think you better than everybody, or y'all get where I'm going with that, right? And so because majority of us have grown up being exposed to, if not directly affected by trauma, of course, that's going to affect a number of other things, how we interact with people, what we know to be okay and not okay, safe and not safe, all of the things. And so, with talking about these different relationships, going back to the family dynamic of relationships, we didn't pick who was family. We didn't pick that. Jesus did that. He did that. Okay. And so for me, I always say family, that's where you're gonna get molded. Okay. That's where you learn how to defend yourself. All of that happens in the household, whatever household you grew up in, and then that's how you show up in the world. And so with these unhealthy, I'm talking about unhealthy relationships, that you realize when you get to a certain point, like, this no longer serves me. This is making me mad, angry, frustrated. I don't like this person. I don't like this. Whatever it may be that you are realizing about this relationship, it's unbalanced. I'm the one that's always giving, giving, giving. They're always taking. Um, those different things. First things first, it's great because we all should be growing. We all should be growing and maturing and developing and just evolving, right? Everybody is not going to. Right? We not shocked by that. Everybody's not going to, which has nothing to do with us as far with regard to if we do or not. But when you realize that you are in an unhealthy relationship, and you realize that you're the source of why you in that relationship, what you need to get out of that relationship, you're not getting it, and now you want to change the dynamics, the best thing you can do is have a conversation. Have a conversation, because here's the thing, y'all been doing this way. Okay, nobody's complained. Y'all probably had y'all toxic conversations, but it ends up being, at the end of the day, hey, we both still here, so it's okay. So the moment you realize that the relationship itself is not serving you, or something within that relationship, have a conversation. And that's where we have to learn how to really say what it is that we need, what we need to change. And that's where boundaries are really, 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 really big help, because you're able to speak to, this is what I'm willing to accept, what I'm no longer willing to accept, and all of that. And hearing the other person out, seeing if y'all can come to a compromise or if they're willing to adjust. And basically, when you set boundaries, you also say, if this does not happen, then that means, we're not going to be talking as much, or we may have to pause the friendship for this season, whatever it may be. But you have a conversation. You have a conversation. Some people will not allow you to have a conversation. And if that is the case, you move forward with what works best for you. So that same thing applies to when you go down the line, because I don't think nobody is exempt. Not mama, not daddy, not auntie, not grandmama. If somebody is, if that relationship is causing you stress, anxiety, is stealing your peace, you don't like the person that you are when you're interacting with them, you have a right. You have a right to say, time out, time out. So that part I would like to hear some feedback on, because some people really feel like no matter what a specific title does, you take it. And I don't believe that at all. And I don't think you have to be nasty and have attitude when you tell people, what you're changing and those different things. It just should be respected. And even if someone cannot respect it, you still move forward. So, in reference to the family dynamics, I know sometimes that's a little touchy because it's family. If siblings is living with mama and daddy, you ain't talking to mama and daddy, that means I probably can't go over their house. So you got to figure out, different ways for things to work and all of that. But even with that being said, I find it very interesting that as much as I hear that, like you just supposed to get people past to treat you bad because of the title of who they are, at the same time, it's like, oh, they don't get to do that. That's not cool. And so it's kind of like, I don't even want to say it's a 50-50 thing. It probably just depends on what relationship dynamic it is. But to me, it ain't no different across the board. I'm not gonna be unhappy, unhealthy, uh, stressed because I'm trying to hold on to this relationship that's really sucking the life out of me. It's just not going to happen. So now, healthy parts of relationships. Let me speak for myself. Um, Again, nobody sat down with me. I watched relationships and how they were going, and as a kid and just growing up, it's like, that works. No, that doesn't work. I'm not okay with that. I am okay with this. Um, and every relationship cannot be treated the same. And what I mean by that, you're not going to interact with your best friend or good friends the same way you do with your significant other. Because some people are like, well, you forgave him, you're still with him, and that's a different type of relationship dynamic. I'm not going to malls and just crying on this person's shoulders. We have a whole life together. We interact on a different level. So even when you are taking advice from people, be mindful who you getting advice from, and that's just straight across the board. Because a lot of people don't understand healthy relationship dynamics, and so the advice you may be receiving, you may not get the results that you're expecting. So be mindful about that. And so healthy relationships, I don't know. The reason I say I don't know, it depends on what you deem healthy. I know what's healthy for me. When I don't want to walk away feeling depleted, used, uneasy, any of that. And that just comes with, we can have a relationship. Oh, that's your boundary. This is my boundary. So that don't mesh. So we'll deal with each other on this level or on that level, and we go from there. So again, relationships. I touched on boundaries, changes within the relationships. I've stated that no one is exempt. Nobody is exempt. Nobody is exempt. If sister can get it, if brother can get it, mama can get it. Nobody gets to treat you any type of way just because they feel like it, just because they ain't dealt with their stuff, just because you trying to do better and be better is triggering them, because now they're able to see, maybe in this area I should change, but they not at the place where they want to change. So these we're always going to be in relationship with people. We always are going to be in relationship with people no matter what. How we're in relationship with people, that is up to us. That is 100% up to us, how we are in relationship with people. And oftentimes when we don't know who we are, what we really want out of life, how we want to be treated, we figure it out along the way. And that's where people get mad and say, you've been this way for 5 years. And then today, all of a sudden, you're saying you no longer want to do this. Like, well, the light bulb just went out today. I had to seek out what was making me mad. Why was I feeling unhappy? And I realized is this dynamic in our relationship? Um, Pretty much every topic I talk about, I'm gonna share something personal. I did not have a great relationship with my mom. I don't know what happened. Um, about 8, 9, we were cool up until that point, and then basically once I went into preteen, uh, yeah, I have no idea what happened. We went from being close as I was a little girl to it became not from me because I didn't know you're supposed to be in competition with your parent, but I've always been a thick girl. I look just like my mom, um, and it got weird, asking people, well, who's smaller, who look better, and all of this, and I'm just like, what? Like, where they do that at? And it was a lot of, um, it was a lot of turmoil, and I could not figure out where it came from because all I did was get older. Like I could not figure it out, and so um, I did not like her. I did not like my mom. There was a season in life where I actually hated her. And I can be honest and say that as a teenager, because I was like, why is she so mean? Why did she try to treat me different? Why? Like all of these questions. And it just, I could not make sense of it. You're a teenager. You ain't going nowhere unless you just about to run away and be on the streets. And that wasn't, that was not my ministry. So that's what I dealt with. But then you fast forward when I hit my early 20s, and I'm in church and stuff like that. And I just had a conversation with God. I was like, I have to forgive her because walking around like this, it doesn't feel good. And I just I was just ready to let it go. And so I did that. And it allowed us to be able to have conversations. I would have conversations and ask questions and share with her how I feel and set boundaries and those different things. And um, over time, what I realized is one, she was a product of her environment. And two, once I stripped off her title as mom and just seeing her as a woman, I realized that there was trauma there. I realized because of how my grandmother was her mother. I'm like, well, she doing this with me. I can only imagine what she did with her own kids. And so some parts of me even start being empathetic to that. And which also made it easier to resolve it. I don't want to almost say let it go, but I want to say let it go because it's always going to be a part of you. It's just how your story pans out. But I was able to resolve it and understand that what I see, that's what I was going to get. That's what I was going to get. And, um, so we didn't, it was not girls diet. I didn't have that experience. It's not my experience. I have friends that are close with their parents, their mothers, and I see that. Um, and maybe because I really truly resolved it, I never had that thing that was like, oh, I wish I had that. I didn't. And maybe because from an early age I didn't have it, so I didn't know to miss something I didn't have, right? But um, the one thing that I was intentional about doing, and that's the last part of the story that I would share. If you have questions or want to know more, you can definitely ask, and I will share more. But when I had my daughter, I called my mom on the phone and I said, hey, I'm summarizing, of course. I just want to let you know I'm open to you having a relationship with my daughter. Not, it doesn't, bother me if you want to hang out with her or anything like that. I said, but I do have some boundaries in place. Like, you would have to come into our world, because I need to make sure like she's safe and she's comfortable. So like you can come to our house, or if you just want to hang out and go get something to eat or whatever, like I'm open to that. Anytime I would see her, I would give her my daughter. Um, so it wasn't one of those relationships where it was like always conflict when we came into the same spaces, because there was nothing to be in conflict about, because I was very clear on the situation, and it just it's just that's just the reality of things. And I know I know some women that have very, very toxic, um, very hurtful relationships, both ways. You know, um, the the behavior goes from both ways. But I was looking. I'm always researching stuff, and I was looking into some stats and different things, and I was surprised to see that it says it was a high percentage, like 89% of women said that they have a good relationship with their daughters, um, which is a good thing, because media is everything, right? Because what they show is that it's more, more than that. But that's what came up. So if you struggle in a parental relationship, and I had my as an adult, I realized I had father issues because how he stopped showing up when I became like an adult, like 25, age 25 plus. And I realized that when he passed. So even with that, you really have to give yourself permission to go into a space that is just real and raw, because it doesn't matter like how long you want to put it off or how much you say it does not matter. Certain relationships do matter, and they shape how we think and we show up. And sometimes you will not know it until a particular thing happens. And so in in reference to my dad, we probably hear it a lot, um, men marry women that are like their moms, and girls marry guys that are like their dads. Don't matter if it's good or not. And so when my father passed, it was almost like a spotlight went off. And I was like, in a lot of ways, my husband does reflect my dad. And when I remember when he passed, it's just drama behind how he passed and everything. But I remember telling my husband, I literally have to tell him, I need you to give me a moment, because like I'm processing this and it's really impacting me, and I don't want to be mean to you. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I don't want to talk to you right now, because you remind me of him. And I had to have that conversation, because y'all know the human thing we do. We started to act a certain way, and all of that, and then somebody is wondering, well, what's going on? What did I do, or what are they going through? So I had to have that conversation, and thankfully, he was open to understand that, and give me some time and space to be able to get through that. So um, these relationships, even when they're bad, or even when we don't have them the way that we visualize or need them to serve us, they do impact us and affect us. So if you are avoiding it, I need you to stop avoiding it, because all you're doing is slowing down your time, your time to heal, to experience. Sometimes in every situation it's not the same, but it really helps when we are able to take off someone's title and see them just as being human, how God sees us. And then we're able to give some grace and be empathetic. Um, And for those doors that were 100% closed, now they got a little crack in them, right? So there's a little bit of hope there, because some people just, that's all they know. And some people, they get the information to do better and to be better, but they choose not to. And that's where those boundaries and those different things come into place. So we're talking about relationships, the healthy side of relationships, the unhealthy side of relationships. And once the unhealthy side is healed and dealt with, you know, you can create whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. I know that there's a a way that society say that we should act or behave in relationships and those different things, but that was restricted for me. And one thing that I told my husband within our marriage, I said, this is our marriage. I'm not trying to have a marriage like that person and this person and that person. Now, when I say that, I mean, like, I want to have a healthy marriage, but I want it to reflect us. I want it to reflect the people that we are. I want it to reflect the way that we serve and believe in God. I want it to reflect our experiences. I want it to be genuine. Like, I don't want to try to duplicate something. I want to originate something. And so that's the same thing in our relationships. You get advice, you take wisdom, you do all of the things, but don't ever forget to make sure that the relationship is serving you. Don't ever forget to make sure that you are benefiting from the relationship. And when I say benefiting, I'm not saying getting over on someone, but make sure it's a benefit. Make sure that when you think about the relationship, it's not just like, what? Why am I even connected to this person? Like, for us to be intentional about these relationships. So, healthy versus unhealthy. Um, Please chime into this. I do not think that every unhealthy relationship means that the people are toxic. I don't, because some people just don't mesh. It don't mean they gotta be toxic. Now, now we are aware of toxic relationships. I've been in a couple. Uh, and that's different from people that just don't mesh well, or their season of being friends, of being a couple, their season of being best cousins or something is just not there right now. And that's okay, because relationship goes in cycles. Relationship goes in cycles. It's gonna be a season where you and your friend, y'all leaking up like clockwork. And then it's going to be a season where one person is busy and the other is like, what's going on? What's going on? It's going to be a season where that's reversed. It's going to be a season where y'all both are hit and miss. And that is okay, because in addition to us having these relationships, we're living life. We're living life. So, I do want some feedback on that. If a relationship is not good, does that mean that the relationship is toxic? And because I want to just read this, because some people do get this confused. The definition of relationship: the way in which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected, or the state of being connected. The way in which two or more people or groups regard and behave towards one another. Because some of us are in one sided relationships, and we're okay with those one sided relationships because of something internal that we are longing for, or we have not realized, hey, I'm repeating a cycle. A relationship requires, at minimum, how many people? Two. So if you're the only one giving, you're the only one calling. You're the only one showing up. You're the only one giving advice. You're the only one rooting for them. Then we got to look at that. Is this a relationship, or you using me for support? Or am I your men? Like, what is this? We have to remember that it takes at minimum two people in a relationship. At minimum. And there's seasons in a relationship where somebody is gonna pull more. Ain't nobody talking about that. I'm talking about when you're in relationship and you feel like you are all alone because you are the person that is doing majority of everything. We have to remember that when we connect with people, they come with their own stuff just like we come with our own stuff. So you could just naturally be a person, that's just how you are. You help people when you see there's need. And this, you could have hooked up with someone that has been used to people just taking care of them. Like, not even that they're wrong for that, because that could just be the environment that they grew up in, like people meeting their needs and taking care of them, that they have not even have time to realize and be like, oh, you are always checking up on me. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it was a problem, because how they were brought up and how they were nurtured was mama got it, daddy got it, cousin got it, whoever, and this person never realized, hey, I have something I want to add. I want to be independent. I have something I want to try. I want to get myself out of this mess and not have someone come to my rescue. So you have to consider, just like you're having revelation about certain things, when we have conversations that put people in the loop of what you're changing or what's going on, that it could be a help to them. It could be a help to them. So I'm really looking for some feedback though on these relationships, because it's a lot, and especially when the relationship ends. How do you navigate a relationship that has existed for a long time? And this is more so for the significant other, the friendship, even a friendship within family members. How do you navigate that? How do you accept that? How do you be okay with that? And I will say this, when my experience is, it depends on what your relationship is built on. But in addition to that, I've had experiences, and anybody I call a friend is like family to me, where the friendship just it was at a standstill. And because I see some people do this, and then betrayal comes in, and he's talking about this person like you was never loyal to them, you doing all this stuff out of hurt, pain, frustration, whatever it may be. When real relationships are rooted in a healthy foundation, like I really care about you as my friend, I love you as my friend, all of those things, that even when it's a season where it stops for a moment or what have you, how you feel about that person is not going to change. I would hope not, right? And those relationships hurt, because again, they're so close. It's like family. And so you navigate those, not just considering yourself, but considering others. Because in that case, you probably not just close with the friend, you close with their siblings, their parents, just the whole dynamic. And I remember navigating that, still holding that person in my heart, because I'm like, this is just for a moment. And some people tried to talk about them, and for I don't do it. Don't do it. No, don't do it. I'm not that chick. We may be on pause right now, but you're not about to be disrespectful like that. And it was hurtful. But when one thing you never want to do is shut people down. Some people think, as long as I don't let you talk, or if I walk away before hearing your side of the story, um, then I won. Oh, actuality, you did the easy thing. You didn't do the hard thing and the necessary thing, which was have a conversation and understand where that person was coming from. You could explain where you was coming from and all of the things. And so I do see that happen. And sometimes you may have to revisit that conversation a couple times, because it's so much you need to unpack. But act like that person, act like you still care about that person, act like you still love that person, because when it's covered in love, and even when you're mad, it's because you're hurt, right? And so then y'all have the conversation, then there's tears, there's laughter, there's, all right, we back in there, when people really matter to you. Because I see that a lot, and I'm not that type of person. I can't bring myself to talk bad about people just because we not friends right now. Like, that's garbage, and that's the easy way. So comment here: do healed people attract broken people in relationships? I'm going to say yes, it is possible, because you're healed, so you're seeing clear, so you may attract yourself to someone in a way of, I want to help them. I want to fix them. Or I know if I just showed them this, they would be okay. So, yes, it's possible. And also, um, someone may be healed in a particular area, but that area that they are not healed in, that broken person, it attracts them because it's familiar. It's familiar. And yes, and that's specific to um relationships, because uh I dated a dude, y'all, and that season of my life, y'all would have been like, who where is your mama and your daddy? Like, did nobody train you? Did nobody teach you? That dude was that that dude was, you talking about red flags? Just read everything. Read everything. Every warning sign you can get, I got, and I still was like, okay. And guess what? I had to have a conversation with myself. What what was it? What was you dealing with to allow that, to accept that, to interact with that? I can't blame nobody, because it takes two. Oh my God, that relationship. I had all the signs. Worst relationship ever. And everything that happened in that relationship, before it happened, I seen it happen, and I still stayed there. So, healed people can attract broken people, because there's something in there. And yeah, I had to take accountability for that, because girl, you walked up in that thing like you didn't see none of these signs, and it was 4001, and you ignored all of them, and some of them you even acknowledged, and you still kept your foot on the gas. Mm-hmm. 100%. And in relationship, you need to learn to be accountable. You need to learn to be accountable. You need to learn to be accountable. Okay. This blaming one person or those people for all the choices and decisions you made or did not make, that ain't nobody's fault but yours. We have to hold ourselves accountable in relationships. So I personally believe healed people can attract broken people in relationships. And then you can definitely chime in on if you have a different perspective or on that, or if you want to add to it, anybody. So today we've been talking about relationships, the good side of the healthy side of relationships and the unhealthy side of relationships, and how to balance those relationships, how to start conversations within those relationships. But this is what I want to leave with. In relationship, whether it's French within friendship, family, um, relationship, never forget yourself. Um, if you are in a relationship that has made you forget who you are, that has separated you from your likes, the things that make you happy, all of those different things, I want you to reevaluate the relationship. Even more so than that, reevaluate why you are still present in that relationship, because it's feeding something. And that's just speaking from personal experience, because this relationship I was in, if y'all want me to talk about this relationship, y'all let me know. But this relationship I was in, baby, all the red signs. And I'm just like a deer caught in him, just going, just going, just going, just going. And that relationship almost cost me my life. And I had to be accountable for my role and part in that. I had to acknowledge and sit with the fact that there was some part of me that liked this relationship, that I was able to deal with it, and I didn't walk away from it. And I could have walked away from it multiple times. And I held on to it. And I would say one of the reasons I held on to it, it was ego. It was ego. Ego almost cost me my life and tangled up with the wrong person. The wrong person. So, do y'all evaluations? How am I showing up in this relationship? Am I doing my part? Are they doing their part? Is this a relationship I'm happy with? Is this a relationship I need to tweak? Is this a relationship I need to cut off? Is this a relationship I want to see grow? It's just so many things to it. Is this a relationship I need to really pray about? Is this relationship over? Okay. Is this over? And I'm trying to extend time. Okay. So, whatever it may be in reference to the relationships that you are in, take time I believe in doing self-assessments. Okay. I do. And being able to do those assessments, be honest about it. Just like you want people to hear you, give people an opportunity to speak and to share. And even try this, like I said, take the title off of them. If it's mama, take the title off of mama and just interact with her like a woman, so that you can understand more, kind of see where she came from. Daddy, how he grew up, all of those things, because it plays a huge role in how we show up or don't show up. It does. It really, 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 really does. And then you just don't have those people that they toxic. They don't care. They gonna tell you, I ain't changing. I ain't never changing. It is what it is. You gonna accept it. This is how I talk. You gonna deal with me going off on you, calling you out your name, talking about your kids. You gonna deal with me gossiping. You gonna deal with me being angry. You all of the things. You just have those people just across the board. They gonna do what they want to do, and it's fine. You can do what you want to do, but you're not gonna be able to do it to me. Okay, so sometimes you just don't come across those people. That's just life. That's life. There's some people you can work with, compromise with, interact with, and then those people where you like, not today, Satan. So I hope this has been a help to you. And next week, I am trying to have a guest co-host come on next week, or to be able to interview someone on the platform to share their experiences. So if that is you and you are interested, please connect with me and to get you on with myself. Sometimes we look past the red flags because we see more of their potential than they do. That is true. That is true. In my case, it was ego because I didn't see no potential. But that is true. Because I mentioned earlier, oh, I can fix them. I can work with that. They just need someone to guide them. I'm gonna have to share about that story in detail. But that's what we have tonight, talking about relationships. I hope this was, I'm not gonna even say I hope this was helpful. It was helpful, even just to myself. Okay. So I look forward to seeing you next week on Candid Conversations with Shy. And again, if you want to be a co-host or share your experiences on the platform, all you have to do is connect with me. All of my information is here, where you can do that. And I'm gonna see y'all next week. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your questions and your comment here, because it's very, very true. And actually, let me see if I can do this, because somebody may not be able to see what I'm referring to. So this is one of the comments. Sometimes we look past the red flags because we see more of their potential than they do. And then here was the question about, do healed people attract broken people, in reference to relationships. So I appreciate y'all. And we just getting this thing revved up. We just getting it revved up. So please stay with me, hang in there with me. But there's more to come, more insight, education. As I said, we're going to be talking about everything: mental health, finances, business, entrepreneurship, all of the things. So continue to hang in with me, and I will see you next week on Candid Conversations with Shy.